What's up, you guys? Thank you for clicking on this video. So as you can tell by the title, we have some interesting little tidbits of info to cover here in today's video. So sit on back, grab a snack, and listen to me ramble. So I was watching the New York Comic-Con Transformers live stream on YouTube from a couple days ago, and Emi sent me some info that I covered in a video a day or two ago. But there was also some other info that I want to get into that I either didn't cover in that previous video or I just didn't talk about at all that was mentioned in this live stream. So first up here in this list, so kind of in passing when they were talking about Leader Class Big Convoy, Nate mentioned that a lot of people have been asking for Ultra Mammoth and other redecos from the new Big Convoy body mold, which makes sense. There was a ton of redecos they could do over the years within Transformers mythos off of the Big Convoy body. I really want to see Ultra Mammoth. That is one that I really do think they need to do, because that is obviously a Fun Publications BotCon type exclusive thing from like, what, 15, 16 years ago now. Really expensive on the aftermarket. So getting that in the main line as like an exclusive release or in the main line in general would be fantastic. Now that would actually be something I would buy. For regular Big Convoy, I'm just sticking to the original mold. And for another reprint I would like to see is Universe 2004 Nemesis Prime, but honestly, I don't know if I would buy that because I'm still sticking with the original Universe 2004 Nemesis Prime. But definitely if they do Ultra Mammoth, I would buy this new mold here of Big Convoy, because, I mean, good luck trying to get the original one from like 15 years ago. I am not spending that much money on eBay just for an Ultra Mammoth. But, yeah, that would be really cool to see all those repaints. And the next thing here is, so when they were talking about when they were going to do Bruticus and how the combiners have been going the last couple years, Nate mentioned, and Evan as well said this, that there is a long list of combiners that they have on the docket to do in the coming years. And I think it was Nate, I could be wrong on this, it might have been Evan, but I think Nate said he specifically mentioned DEFENSOR as one that they want to do, and that a lot of people have been asking in the fandom for Hasbro to do nowadays. So I would like to see DEFENSOR. I don't know exactly how they would do him in this day and age, if it would be a framing system or if it would just be more of a traditional combiner. I definitely think DEFENSOR is coming within the next few years, I'd say, because they did say that they're planning Predaking. They've been talking to Takara and brainstorming ideas. They said this at San Diego Comic-Con. They obviously teased DEFENSOR. You know, they've been talking about some other combiners after Bruticus, so we're going to have to wait and see on who comes next. If I had to guess, it would be DEFENSOR who comes next, and then probably Predaking, but who knows? We're going to have to wait and see on that. And now, to talk about the new Studio Series 86 Voyager Class Seeker mold, specifically Thundercracker. So they showed him off, and they mentioned an interesting tidbit of info here. They said, they were talking about the engineering and that there is parts forming on the tail fins. You know, you could take them off from the lower legs. You know, you could recreate the toy-accurate design of having the tail fins on the lower legs, or you could take them off and place them inside of the back of the wings in jet mode and in robot mode to simulate more of an animation-accurate robot mode. So that is an interesting detail. You know, they just plug right inside of the back of the main wings of the F-15, and it obviously makes for a more cartoon-accurate, cleaner-looking robot mode. But I don't know how this is going to go over with the fandom, especially the G1ers who are really hardcore on parts forming and stuff like that. I don't know, because, you know, there's always people out there who don't like the pieces of vehicle mode parts that come off and form a shield, or they come off to form some sort of weapon. You know, there's a ton of people out there in the fandom who think like this. I'm not one of those people. I really don't care about parts forming if it's done in a way that is actually beneficial to the figure and that is actually unique and cool. There's very rare examples as to me personally not liking parts forming. If it's not done in a lazy fashion, I don't care. And this is not done in a lazy fashion. Obviously, they thought of a way to handle it. They were thinking of the animation accuracy and also the toy accuracy, you know, pleasing both sides of the fandom there, kind of. And they obviously planned for a nice piece of storage for that piece of part. So it's not just hanging off on your desk, or it's not some random knife weapon that plugs into its hands or something like that. They did a really well thought out way of handling the tail fins, and I do actually like this feature. I myself don't mind it, but I'm sure there's going to be a lot of G1 fans that aren't really going to like that detail. They're going to be like, oh, why didn't it just fold into the lower leg and transform? Why does it have to parts form? Hasbro's being so cheap. I don't mind it in this situation. I think it works for what they're going for, and they obviously were kind of thinking on how to handle this, and they did it to the best of their ability. I really can't fault them for this. And they also mentioned, when they were talking about the new Leader Class 86 Soundwave, that the cassettes, they will be doing more cassettes for this new mold of Soundwave. So obviously they're going to be doing all his other little minions from G1, which I'm looking forward to seeing. Hopefully they're a little bit better than the ones that are packed in with him, but who knows? We're going to have to wait and see. Either way, I'm just really excited to see new versions of the cassettes going forward in the 86 line, or maybe even in regular mainline generations, we could see some of these cassette characters get made, whether that's for Soundwave or Sound Blaster or whatever else. So looking forward to that. They were talking about some Baver stuff the last night, Nemesis Prime. Nate mentioned that they're in mid-development for the next Titan-class Dinobot from Age of Extinction, and it will be releasing in the year 2027, which I am looking forward to. I wish it could come out next year. You know, just the little impatient plastic horse side of me is like, I want to get this figure sooner. I want to see it next year. But obviously Grimlock is the one for 2026, so can't fault them in that. Really excited to see who it is. If I were to pick who I would want to see next, I would want it to be... I don't know, I really want Scorn. He was always one of my favorite Bayverse live-action Dinobot designs. If Scorn is next up in the Titan class scale, like, Hasbro will have my heart 100%. Like, I would feel like Hasbro owns my soul at this point if the next Titan class was Scorn. But honestly, I would take either of the Dinobots next up in Titan class, because we already know they're doing all of them in this scale and size class, so it really doesn't matter. We're getting them either way by the year 2029, they said in, I believe, San Diego Comic-Con a few months ago. So really looking forward to these releases in the next couple years. And another thing they said when they were covering the retro stuff, they said that they're planning the retro carded G1 stuff for 2027 already. Not surprising there. They always plan stuff years in advance, 2-3 years or whatever. My question is, my little piece of tinfoil hat speculatory questioning in this video would be, is this for the G1 retro cardback stuff, or are they planning to branch out and do retro cardback releases for other eras of the franchise? I can't remember if there would be an anniversary year for retro cardback that would be warranted. Oh, 2027. The 20th anniversary of the first live-action movie. I literally just thought of that. Could they be hinting at and alluding to them planning out this for a quote-unquote retro cardback line? I don't know. But, I mean, more than likely it's just for some more G1 cardbacks with modernized figures, you know. Either way, I'm really excited to see what these releases are going to be. Doesn't really matter the era for me. Just new Transformers figures, I am excited either way. And now getting into some stuff that I mentioned in passing in a video a couple days ago, but I kind of want to go a bit more in depth in this. So Onslaught will be revealed at MCM. So I'm looking forward to that. We just seen the CAD render for the back for his package art. Onslaught is a character that I really want to see how they handle that commander class. I still think he could have just worked as a leader class, but you know, I'm really intrigued on this. And when they were talking about the new 86 secret mold, Nate specifically mentioned that he really wants to do a Sunstorm, and a lot of people want to see Sunstorm made, myself included. Please, Hasbro, do a Sunstorm repaint at some point soon. Please make it 2027 by the earliest, at least. Like, I don't think we've seen a Sunstorm in the modern era yet. I think the last time we saw a Sunstorm was back during the early days of Generations. I could be wrong on that, but I'm pretty sure it's been quite a while since we've seen Sunstorm repaint. So here's hoping that that's coming really soon, since Nate mentioned it. Soundwave can still use the old cassette bots from like Earthrise and Siege, so that's great. You know, for me personally, I think the cassette modes of those older figures look a bit better than the new ones we're getting, but then the robot modes of the new 86 cassettes that are coming with the leader class Soundwave look better than the robot modes we saw during Earthrise and Siege. So I like that cross-compatibility. If you're somebody that has both, you could use one for the better looking cassette mode and then the other for the better looking robot modes. So that'll be interesting to see in people's displays. Evan mentioned that they would want to do an 86 Wheelie from the new retro cardback mold of Wheelie, which would obviously be more of a cartoon accurate deco, not toy accurate this time around. So that's going to be interesting to see. I'd assume this would release in maybe 2027 at the earliest, considering we don't have any listings for this guy next year, and this Wheelie is already coming out early next year, I'm pretty sure. So I don't think they want to release two figures of one of the more controversial Transformers characters in the fandom. So definitely think maybe 2027 at the earliest for an 86 cartoon accurate deco Wheelie. We had the reveal of the timelines stuff and theme for next year with the samurais from Japan. Then they said that Bumblebee and Megatron is planned for MCM London at the earliest, which I'm real excited to see on what lore from Japan they pull from with Bumblebee and Megatron. It was actually really interesting to hear Evan go into what the inspiration was for this new timelines theme for 2026. So here's hoping this next 2-pack is just as interesting as Optimus and Starscream 1. And for the last thing here, it said pre-orders for Age of Primes Wave 1 is going to be up same day as MCM London Comic-Con. So finally, you're going to be able to pre-order the peak of Voyager Class Brawl, Amalgamus Prime, and Quick Strike. Those are, and Quintus Prime as well. That's another great release for Wave 1, it looks like. Those are the ones I'm probably going to be getting from Wave 1. Let me know down below what figures from Wave 1 do you guys want to get, and what do you guys think about all the info that was mentioned and them wanting to do, and them recognizing that fans want to see made in terms of different repaints and different characters. And yeah, guys, thank you for watching this video. Catch y'all in the next one. Bye.